Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play LEGO Star Wars: The Video Game for the GBA Part 9. The game lazily takes us back to Kashyyyk again. We're playing as Yoda, and Chewbacca's in our party too, but we don't really care about Chewbacca. He's mostly kind of useless now. So let's do the same levels we did earlier, the same levels on Kashyyyk we did earlier. At this time, we're just, well, doing the same thing we did last time, just fighting off the remaining battle droids. Even though their leader, General Grievous, got killed, the remaining battle droids are still fighting against us, and they're still trying to do all they can to win the war, even though it's obviously a lost cause for them at this point. It's kind of like when Mr. Plinkett was going against the Padme for kind of the idea, oh, once we capture the Viceroy, all the droids are going to be lost and confused and not know what to do. Mr. Plinkett's like, well, has it not occurred to you that maybe they'll just run as programmed and continue doing what they're told to do? Well, that's what these droids seem to be doing right now, so I guess this game kind of proves Mr. Plinkett to be right. This also reminds me of when I first saw Kashyyyk for the first time on what might as well have been a movie theater screen, but it was actually a giant big screen TV in my mom's friend's basement. That's where I first saw Star Wars Episode 3 in 2005. I remember that's when I first saw it on DVD. I didn't even have a DVD player yet, and I remember watching it on DVD down there. It was a magical experience, probably the best kind of experience you could get by watching the movie, and that's not in a movie theater. And then I got to keep the DVD of it afterwards, and I still have that DVD of Star Wars Episode 3 to this very day. And I still watch it every now and then. I was just recently watched it when I watched all 6 Star Wars movies on the day after Christmas Day. Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that again anytime soon. It's actually not as fun as I thought it would be to watch all 6 Star Wars movies in one day. Watching 9 of them in one day is like pure torture. I mean, it's fun at first, but after a while, you're gonna go insane. It's almost like those people try to do Simpsons marathons, and usually they start to go insane around the 9th or 10th season or so, if they watch like every Simpsons episode ever. And look, the game just pretty much just gave us some free Death Star plans, maybe hinting at what's gonna come up, because the events that lead to the creation of the Death Star are about to come up. Just gonna be walking around here very slowly, because you know Yoda's really slow at walking, and look at this, the clones are still putting up a fight with them, and look, there's some monk that shows up there that they've never seen before. So it's gonna blindly listen to what he says. Then he's gonna tell them to go kill Yoda, so they will. Go kill Yoda. 66. Highway 66. Go kill Yoda. And this game also does the same thing the home console game does, where once Order 66 is issued, the clones and droids seem to forget their differences and throw them aside, and they just downright become friends with each other. You know, they brutally hated each other for the last 3 years. They just suddenly, for no apparent reason, become friends with each other and start going against the Jedi. That's how clones are. It's like they just go from thinking one thing, a split second later, they think something entirely different. Going from being an enemy to being a friend that quickly. Guess that's how clones think of their people. I guess Yoda's kicking himself right now that he rescued all those clones in that other level. Now he's thinking he shouldn't have done that. He should have just left the clones there to die, and then that would have been, probably would have been better for him. The clones just died. That's why sometimes when I play Star Wars Battlefront 2 or the original Battlefront, I like to play as a CIS a lot now in those games. I like to kill the clones, and I like to say that I'm doing the Jedi a favor by killing clones, and there's fewer of them, so Jedi are less likely to get killed by clones. Well, droids aren't really threats to Jedi that much either, so I'm doing a Jedi a favor. Maybe the Separatists were the good guys after all this whole entire time. I mean, a lot of people, like back in the early, before anyone really knew what the Clone Wars was, people came up with all kinds of weird theories as to what the Clone Wars could have been. Most people assumed that the clones were the bad guys, since cloning doesn't really seem like much of an ethical thing. And then my mom said, well, in all fairness, they kind of are bad guys in a way if you know the real reason why the clones were invented and what they became to the Jedi afterwards. They kind of were the bad guys all along, we just didn't know about it. So I guess those people that predicted clones were bad guys were, probably not far off. Mr. Plinkett thinks it would have been better if the clones were more like orcs from Lord of the Rings or something like that. And they could have been like very, they could have been like those large, insanely powerful creature things that the Jedi are struggling to fight against, and they could have been responsible for killing off the Jedi, and later leads to the Empire becoming what they are. Some people wondered what the Empire really was. Some people think the Empire may have existed at this point in time, like it coexisted with the Republic, and then it annexed the Republic at some point in time, like what Japan did to Korea and China. Or and some people think that maybe something like that may have happened. I think it's quite remarkable, actually, as to the theories people came up with about how the prequels could have been before the prequels actually came out. They should have like a writing contest for that, where people could write all their best lines down for what Star Wars could have been, or what could have been Star Wars, before the prequels, and there could be like a grand prize winner, and the grand prize winner is the one that's going to get turned into a real movie. I doubt they would ever do that though, but it does sound like a pretty cool idea. A lot of the ideas are actually better than things George Lucas could have come up with. Some other person in the 90s came up with some idea that Obi-Wan was actually a clone, and his name was Obi-Wan because he was the first clone of someone named Obi. And we do know he fought in the Clone Wars, and that's how he first heard of the Clone Wars. We first heard of the Clone Wars in 1977. We didn't know what the Clone Wars actually was until 2002, when Star Wars Episode 2 came out, and we were all disappointed. I can't even tell if this is Kashyyyk or Endor right now. This place looks very similar to Endor. Or the Endor levels in Return of the Jedi look just like this. I don't know, maybe use this as like a base for what later become Endor. Endor and Kashyyyk are not far off. Maybe it's more like parallels. The Star Wars series has a lot of parallels of each other. It's like what George Lucas says. It's like poetry, it rhymes. Each stanza rhymes with the last verse. Maybe it's a case like that. The original trilogy ended on some sort of forest planet, and now the prequel trilogy is gonna almost end on some forest planet too. Well, it doesn't really end on Kashyyyk, but close enough. So in the last levels of the game, and we're on Kashyyyk. This would mean Mace Windu is dead at this point too, and so are most of the other Jedi. I remember Star Wars Episode 3 traumatized me as a kid. I thought it was really, I really grew to love the Jedi Council members in the previous movies, and seeing them get unexpectedly killed by clones in some of the weakest ways possible, and then knowing that Anakin would later go and slaughter younglings as well too. And he kind of hinted at it in Star Wars Episode 2, and Padme didn't seem to think any less of him for that. So it's kind of her fault too that she just kind of let him be. She had some mental issues, but yeah, she never did anything about it, and Anakin turned out to become one of the worst villains in the galaxy. And I kind of lost respect for him too. I mean, I knew Darth Vader was a cool, like rugged villain kind of thing that was ruthless and would do all sorts of, like he'd kill people. I never thought of him as the kind of thing that would kill kids, but apparently he is. He's a child murderer. I sometimes think he got his just desserts at the end of Star Wars Episode 3 too. In the last part of this Let's Play, we'll see how Anakin Skywalker gets his just desserts for what he did. A lot of the time now, we'll see him go against all those villains that he went against throughout the course of the rivals that he went against throughout the course of the series. I'm starting to kind of root for them now. I'm starting to think Sebulba deserved to have won that Booty race on Tatooine, and maybe Count Dooku deserved to have killed Anakin on Geonosis. Things would have been better if it went kind of like that. Maybe the galaxy would have been a better place overall if that's what happened. Seems kind of, yeah, maybe Qui-Gon Jinn was secretly a bad guy all along. He somehow knew Anakin would become what he is, and he wanted to grow. Nah, I doubt that. Qui-Gon Jinn, I can't picture Qui-Gon Jinn as being a Sith Lord. But some people think Qui-Gon Jinn may have been wrong about his like premonitions about Anakin. Now we're back to this other familiar territory. It's the exact same map we've had before in the earlier level, but this time around, it's pretty much all the same, but this time around we now have clones coming after us too, in addition to droids, and we have to find a way to shut off some force fields, because I know force fields are probably very abundant in these jungle areas. Seems like the most logical place to put up a force field, or an invisible fence maybe to keep a pet outside. Clearly they have like invisible fences that they have to keep their pets in there. I know there was someone in my neighborhood that had something like that, the invisible fence. So I'm just going to be walking around here. I'm just going to be attacking what comes out of me. Pretty much just kill everything and try to look for a way to undo the force field and take down the force field. I think use the force here too, which makes Chewbacca very much useless because Chewbacca doesn't really serve a purpose at all in this game. In fact, most blaster-wielding characters are kind of useless too. It's really hard to position or aim where they're going to shoot. And almost all the puzzles in this game are oriented or centered around Jedi, just like this level. They probably just put Chewbacca in there as a gimmick, thinking, look, I mean, Chewbacca in Star Wars Episode 3 really was a gimmick after all. They just put him in there and make it be like, oh look, Chewbacca's in this movie. Now we can make merchandise of Chewbacca, bring back old nostalgic Star Wars fun by putting Chewbacca in there so people will like it. It's probably, they did the same thing of Darth Vader. I thought Darth Vader was going to be in this movie more, because they put him on the advertising packaging for pretty much everything. But then you watch the movie only to find out he just appears at the end of the movie for a few seconds, where he says, no! Apparently they shortened that scene in the DVD version from the original theatrical version. Why they shortened it, I have no idea. Doesn't make sense why they would do something like that, but they did. Look at that, a green clone trooper's dead. Oh, there's this way. Yes, now we realize now that we just pretty much walked in a circle. We pretty much just walked into a dead end. The game made us think we're supposed to go that way. That's the other problem I have this game too, is that the levels are so large and so wide open, and a lot of it's filled with nothing. You can easily walk one way thinking you're supposed to go there, or thinking there's supposed to be something there, but then you walk all the way there, kill so many enemies, only to find out that there's nothing there. It's all just a trick. It's like the game wants you to it's like the game's mocking you almost. It's like they thought, kids aren't gonna care. Kids are stupid. They're gonna like playing this dumb game, this dumb Star Wars game. Kids love dumb Star Wars games. Give a kid a game where you walk around with a lightsaber and kill stuff, and they're gonna eat it up like it's nothing. They're gonna sell like hotcakes. There's that force field I was mentioning earlier. Find a way to shut down the force field. I think I know what we're supposed to do. This is a good one of the other ledges. It's like these levels are so elaborate. They're so large. There's so many ledges. The only way you could really get to the other ledge is if you jump off this ledge and fall all the way down there. Good thing there isn't fall damage in this game. Also makes you think you're gonna die if you fall from that height. But then again, in the Star Wars movies, people seem to be able to fall from such great heights. It never seems to injure them at all. Like Mace Windu when he jumped off that balcony in the Geonosis Arena. He fell from such a great height, and yet he doesn't seem to be injured at all. So I know around here is where I think the switch is. So look at that. More droids and their stat fighters, or whatever those things are called, the stat speeder things. The things we saw in episode 1 on Naboo. These droids are still, resorting to like guerrilla warfare now. They're just really trying to win the war, even though they know they've lost. You have to kind of give them respect for that. They still believe in their cause, even though their cause has clearly failed, and yet they're still fighting tooth and nail, trying to, win their cause. They're trying to, win. That's actually a good way to be. You should always fight for a good cause, even if you know you're in the wrong, even if you know for sure you're gonna lose. It's still a great way to be. That's kind of what I'm like on my YouTube videos. I know my YouTube videos will probably never become popular. They'll probably never be as big as Nintendo Capri Sun was in its heyday, but I still like to make videos anyways. It's like something me trying to do something I've wanted to do for years. When I was a kid, I wanted to make Let's Plays like this, and I never really got to do it as a kid because I never had the technology for that. It wasn't until years later when I finally got the technology to make these Let's Plays. So I can make Let's Plays now, make up for what I didn't get to do as a kid. There, now the game's gonna make us walk all the way back here. It's like the game knows it's too short. It's a short game, so I just want to drag it on as long as possible. So spend the majority of your time walking all the way to one end of the map, only to go to another way. But there isn't even a mapping system in this game either, so you don't even know if you're going the right way or not. It's like the game wants you to get lost, it wants to mess around with you, it wants to throw you around. And throw some more clones at you. But these clones are pathetic ones too. They just get killed in one hit easy. They're actually weaker than battle droids in this game. You wouldn't expect a clone to be weaker than a battle droid, but apparently they are. And this is the last section, I think, the beach. Yeah, because that's just that whole thing we did before wasn't long enough to be a level. Just had to drag it on a little bit more. That just wasn't enough. Just make us do some more slow-paced walking. They even gave it Yoda too, because it's trying to be, it's like it's Yoda. He's very slow. It's like the game's torturing us almost. It's like it wants kids to think that, oh, you should have bought the console version. It's way better. Or maybe they wanted the Game Boy Advance to look bad or something. I know, but this is not a really bad game, so it's not really a case where it's like the Spider-Man free video game for PS2, but they made the game bad on purpose, so people think the PS3 was better, so people buy a PS3 rather than a PS2. It'll make them think that PS2 sucks. I'm getting a PS3. That was back in 2007 when PS3 was still pretty new. I remember playing for that whole Spider-Man free game on the PS2, and my mom was impressed by the fact that it actually had a somewhat realistic or a somewhat detailed map of New York City in the game. Yeah, if you were planning a trip to New York City, you could just use the Spider-Man free game for the PS2 and didn't have the mapping system there. Apparently people seem to hate the console version of that game too, but I thought the console version was pretty cool. I remember years ago I watched a guy named Liquid Solidus 9000 do a Let's Play of Spider-Man 3, the game. It was a PC version, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as the PS3 version. Then my mom was saying, why are you watching this Let's Play of it when you have that movie, or you can watch the real movie? I said, well, I don't remember there being a scene in the movie where Spider-Man had to go to a wedding that was hosted by the crime organization Arsenic Candy, and they kidnapped some guy and wanted to marry him. I don't remember that scene from the movie. I must have went to get popcorn and that happened. I think the same thing happened when I went to see Batman 1989, and there was a part where the what's his name, the Killer Moth came out outside City Hall and Michael Keaton Batman had a fight against him. I don't remember that scene from the movie either. I just went to get popcorn too when that happened, or a drink or something like that. Trying to find it. It's like they're doing it again. They're giving us this huge map, this huge terrain, this huge space we could walk around. Good thing it gives us speed power up, but they give us this huge terrain to explore. And they purposefully do stuff like this to make it look like, hey, look, you could just walk over here. You could just jump over here. You could just jump up here. It's like, no, you can't. It's like the game's like saying, screw you, stupid kids. You're never gonna get anything good. I don't even think there is anything up there. It's like the game's making you think there's something significant there, but really there isn't. Yeah, I think until they really got lazy at this point in the game. They wanted the game to seem like it was a big, elaborate, ambitious game, but really, this is where you start to realize that this is really nothing more than a 2-bit project. And yet, they don't want you to think that. It's like it's trying to trick you into thinking that it's like such a large game when really it's not. It's not even this part's not even original too. It's just stuff we saw in the previous level. But now there's clones attacking us. Send in the clones. I think I'm a clone now. And that's finally the end of the level. And good God, that was a long level. We already unlocked Yoda, I think. We already unlocked Chewbacca from the other level. So who could we possibly unlock this time? Is it an R5 droid? An R3 droid? What is it? What kind of character are we going to unlock this time? Will we finally get General Grievous? Someone cool? Oh no, it's just one of those crappy little clone troopers. Yeah, and that's the end of the most dullest level in the entire game. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.